What's 16, Mike? 2, 3, 1, 4, 5. Yep, and you've just got the cinnamon hen there. That's your last. That's your last birthday.
Yeah, I'll be happy.
We're back to holiday, clean up lots, yeah.
Steve, or the
I won't, yeah, I will throw that in. Oh, yeah.
I'm at the Yorkshire Canary Club. It's the winter show with Keith Williams. How are you doing, Keith?
I'm doing very well. Yeah.
What's the history of the club? Is it
Well, the club was formed back in 1894
really
by mill workers, coal miners
right?
from the Bradford area.
Right. So this one club's been going a long, long time then.
It has, yeah. The men from Bradford, they being true Yorkshiremen, they wanted a Yorkshire Canary. The Lancashire men, they had a Lancashire Canary. So the Yorkshiremen set about and created a Yorkshire Canary.
Have they always been this size, or has the shape changed over the years?
Oh, the shape has certainly changed over the years. In the days of then, when it first started out, I think it must have been a fallacy, but they used to say a good Yorkshire would fit through a lady's wedding ring.
Yeah, right.
So we've moved on, and we now, the standard is the Golian standard. Lovely all, free parking,
It is nice.
easy to get to.
The first time I came last year, I just walked in and went, wow, it's just great, because they've got it on the video. It's
A great hall.
just a lovely, it's got a lovely feeling.
Yeah, it has.
Great for the birds.
Yeah.
Are they a hard bird to breed? And I remember talking to a breeder last year and they said the Yorkshires are quite temperamental. Quite a hard bird to breed.
They are temperamental. You'll get one hen that will absolutely love motherhood. She'll feed all the youngsters, absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And then you'll get another one who neglects them. It swings and roundabouts. We're breeding a bird for exhibition. The Yorkshire Canary Club is a club for exhibitions.
To exhibit the bird.
That is it.
Breeders to exhibit.
That is the aim. We love the competition, and the birds, as I say, you'll get one. You might get 9 youngsters off one hen 1 year. A bird just 5 foot away in another cage, she might lay an egg.
Totally different.
Totally different. It swings and roundabouts. But I believe the Yorkshire Canary is no harder to breed than any other. Cage breeding, yeah. If you want to breed to a standard, you've got to cage breed.
You swap, like I've heard some people swapping the cock birds to separate hens and stuff like that.
Definitely,
that,
definitely, that is the way to go. You're the man who's walking to that bird shed every morning. You're looking at your birds. If you think you've got a cock bird there that you might like it, nobody else might like it, but you might. You put it to as many hens as you can, and some people put a good cock bird to 3, 4, even maybe 5 hens over a year.
Right.
And then there's the other lads who like to just pair breed. One cock, one hen.
Right.
And that's
Not
it.
switch them about.
No, it's everybody's own. Everybody to their own. 100 years ago, when they used to say that you could have 5 Yorkshire Canary breeders in a street in Bradford. Now, unfortunately, we haven't got a member in Bradford.
It's a lovely bird.
Oh, yeah, they
I
are.
love the bird.
To be right, the canary fans see whether you're a Yorkshire Canary man or you breed Gloucesters. It's a nice hobby to have.
It's a Yorkshire bird.
You have it down bottom of your garden. You basically aren't bothering anybody else. It's a very nice hobby, and you meet good people.
Because I had filming, met loads of different people like yourself, and talking about birds.
Yeah.
And I've just picked up bits and bobs, but
You're
you're the experts
I've done this job for quite a few years now.
in the club.
In the club, I'm secretary treasurer. I took over from Jim Bannon, who was maybe the last man from Bradford to run the club. But unfortunately, Jim passed away, so I took over from him. the nucleus of the people running clubs, not just the Yorkshire Canary Club, but clubs all over the country, is getting smaller and smaller as habits change. People don't want to be tied down to canaries or
Livestock.
livestock
It's
anymore.
still going.
But
Still going.
we're still going,
Good.
you know, and we will do hopefully for a lot longer. The drawback with breeding canaries is that they're very seasonal and you can't change the seasons. So we have a breeding season, which is, you can bring it forward a little bit by putting heat in your bird room and extending daylight hours, but mainly breeding seasons from March to middle of July. After July, your adult birds start molting. So from July to beginning of October, the molt, you know, you just have to leave them to get on with it. Then we have our show season, which is October till now, you know, middle of January, and then it's a matter of conditioning your birds for breeding season. And no matter what, it's seasonal. So
Yeah.
you get all your shows, whether the Gloucester shows or the Yorkshire Canary shows, we're all crammed into that block. So from October till now, we're up and down the motorway supporting all the other shows as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
What's the secret to a great Yorkshire then?
The secret
What
to
would you
it,
say just off the top? What you think
I think
makes a good...
position.
Right.
Position. That is what it's all about. The Yorkshire is shown, exhibited, and it has to show itself on the top perch. We don't want it jumping about, flittering about in the cage. We judge it to look at it, but to stand in a position. If the judge sees that bird stood in the correct position for 2 or 3 seconds, as long as he can appreciate that position, you know, it'll go. We're a bird of position.
Right. Is that bred into the bird, do you think?
Oh
Do you
yeah,
breed-
definitely, yeah.
you breed a bird that
Stands right, and
right.
hopefully it passes it on to its youngsters, you know. But as I say, we don't want them jumping about. Not like, you know, you go to other shows and you see Gloucesters there in a little box cage,
Yeah.
2 perches, and they like to see them move from one perch to the other. We
Right.
want our bird stood at the top.
I didn't know that. So there's different...
Yeah.
Right.
The Yorkshire Canary, because of that, is sometimes referred to as the gentleman or the guardsman. of the
Really?
fancy,
Right.
because we aren't stood.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Well,
Didn't know that. You see, this
Yeah,
is
you're
what you
learning
get
all the
by
time,
talking
yeah.
to the people
Yeah.
that know.
yeah.
As a beginner, it's a good way of starting with Yorkshires. I think somebody's thinking of starting a pair or something, or
I would say you want 3 pairs
right,
minimum, really.
right,
But you don't want to be going over the top. You know, just start off with 3 pairs, breed a few youngsters, and hopefully you get some birds that, you know, you're going to exhibit. And the only way of learning is coming to a show, talking to the other fanciers.
yeah, and learning from
Yeah,
them.
yeah, definitely.
I'm chairman of the Yorkshire Canary Club. Been chairman since last year. And obviously, this is our winter show today. The club has 2 shows a year, an open show in November, and then the winter show, which is today.
Yeah,
We're a week later than what we usually are. We had a date clash with Southern, so not quite as many birds as what we usually would have at this show.
yeah, I was here last year.
Yeah. But we've still got a good entry, and we've had some quality birds on show, which is what it's all about. And yeah, so it's been a good day.
What makes a good Yorkshire?
A good Yorkshire. Well,
Or is it complicated?
There's a lot to them. What we'd probably call a specialist bird, if you like. They're a posture canary. So the first thing really, what we're looking for is for the bird to stand in the correct position in the show cage. We want a bird of length to stand pretty much like that. A fearless carriage with immaculate feather. There's lots more to it, you know, but basically a long tapered bird showing good legs, an immaculate feather, a nice rounded shoulder, rounded head, and a taper right down to a point of the tail. As much length behind the bird as there is in front. So a beautifully balanced, symmetrical bird with immaculate feather, basically. And when you get a good bird that shows itself well in a show cage, they look a bit special. You know, they are
They're a stunning bird, aren't they?
absolutely stunning. They're not easy. There's a lot to consider.
What keeping them and breeding them?
Both. Yes, you can have a stunning bird in your shed, but the key is when they get into that show cage, that they are going to perform and stand there fearlessly, and that's a challenge in itself. You can breed a very, very good bird, but it must show itself like a true Yorkshire Canary, a fearless sort of.
So how do you do that?
Well, it starts pretty young. I think a lot of it is bred in. A lot of it is bred into them. Some lines are much steadier than others. But from your youngsters being in nest, really, you put your hand into the stock cage and you get them used to hand movements around them. And start hanging your show cage onto your stock cages once they've been weaned off, getting them used to being in a show cage, spending time with them, putting them up on a training bench in your shed. I think one of the most important parts of your shed when you're a Yorkshire breeder is that training bench and replicating a show in your own shed, because it's that posture that we're looking for and that position. The more you do it with your birds, they become accustomed to it, and they seem to, it steadies them off basically. If you don't do that when your birds are quite young, you may struggle when you get them to shows later in the year. It's very important to put that time in and prepare them as well as you can.
Yeah, so you're prepping the birds.
You're prepping the birds.
Sure.
You're prepping.
Circumstance.
Yes. I mean, most days when I go in shed, obviously depending on the time of year, but most days when you go in the shed, you're looking at your show team, and obviously again depending on what time of year it is, but you'd run your birds out almost every day. Or you might hang a show cage onto your stock cages, let your birds jump in and out, take some off, put them on your show bench, train them, and replicate what a judge does. When you watch judges such as Mike's judging today, and you'll see him working the birds with his hand.
Yeah. What is that? Is it to make it?
It's just so you can see the bird in its best position.
Right,
so it's slight hand
stands.
movements around the bird to get it to attention, that it comes up and you see it in that correct position basically. And when a bird is stood up in that correct position with the correct legs, which are really important, very, very important leg position on a bird, and those angles on a Yorkshire Canary's legs, breaking the leg. When it gets up in that correct position, a model bird would still have that beautiful angulation through its legs. There's 25 points for position and 25 points for feather. So if you get a stunning bird standing like that with immaculate feather, you've half of your points straight away.
Right.
You know, so
Very
it's
important.
very, very important. It's quality. It's the quality that you look for. When I look really good exemplary Yorkshire, the first thing I look for, you have different types of feather. To me, a good showbird feather, when you look on the underside between the legs, they've immaculate feather right underneath, and the legs look clean and tidy right through underneath, and then you get a beautiful tapered bird. As long as they've got that length behind. You need all these things coming together to make a good bird. So this is why they are quite difficult to get that what I call showbird feather is how you pair your birds. You've birds, you've broad feather, narrow feather, heavy feathered birds, tight feathered birds. We Yorkshires, if you had two birds with immaculately narrow feather, and you paired those birds together, you'll always breed down in size. So you need those heavier feathered birds in your room to pair to your hens or other way around to get that middle of the road, if you like. That's what we'll be looking for, because we want a bird of a certain size, 6 3/4 inches. If you keep pairing narrow feather to narrow feather, you're going to breed small birds. When you go into Yorkshire breeders' sheds and you look round, not all the birds would have what I personally call show feather. You need those heavier feathered birds to maintain your size as much as anything, and it's about getting that balance of your feather as much as anything else.
Right.
So as I said, there's a lot to it. There's lots to consider, and it's difficult to breed a top quality bird.
Right. For a beginner, How would you get started?
Well, our advice would be really to try and make friends with a champion breeder and visit his shed as much as possible. Come to our shows and look at the birds, see what the top birds that are winning are like and what virtues they've got. Don't go rushing in and buying birds from anywhere. As I say, if you can, get in touch with a breeder who's consistent, not just winning at one show. Like the style of his birds, obviously. Look at these qualities that I've just spoken about, and stick with that bloodline to start with. Don't go buying birds from here, there, and everywhere. Try and line breed and maintain a certain quality throughout your stud. And then once you've spent some time learning and really getting into nitty-gritty and finer points, you can then start to look into bring a bird in to improve a certain trait or take your line in a slightly different direction or improve it where it needs improving. And every Yorkshire that I bred last year, apart from single chicks, when I've got one single chick, I will float them under 5, so it's a waste around otherwise. But they were all self-reared by Yorkshires, which is another thing that personally, I know people have different opinions. I wanted my line of Yorkshires, as I develop it, to be a self-rearing line. That's just me. I do believe that the variety should want to and be able to rear their own chicks, and that's important to me personally. People have different opinions on that, but that's their own prerogative.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but again, when it comes to breeding them, they can be a challenge. It's important to get them in right condition and not go too early. A lot of people seem to want to breed earlier and earlier. Yorkshires, obviously, they're a bigger canary. They do take longer to come into condition.
Right.
And it's getting your cockbirds really fit as well, and your hens. It can be beneficial to keep your hens in flights over winter months to keep them fit and active and keep that weight off them. And then obviously this time of year now we're gradually building them up ready to breed. So yes, I do think, again, to a point, some strains are very good rearers, some aren't so good. You will work out pretty quickly which of your birds are going to fill eggs, your cockbirds, and which of your hens might need a bit of help. Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Sean.
You too saw you last year.
You did, and you did a great job for us last year. Thank you very much.
No
I'm
problem.
delighted for you both to come back again today, and shows you enjoyed it. We certainly did.
I really like this room. It's really nice, and the birds. It's perfect, isn't it?
We love the club because they've made us welcome. They've invited us in. There's a good view. You don't get that in every show hall. There's free parking. You don't get that. We've got the run of the place, kitchen. We've got meeting rooms. What could be better?
How long have you been breeding, Brian?
I've been breeding since I was 8. So
since you was 8.
Since I was 8, 73 now. So you work it out.
You know a lot about
65 years. Hey, I've forgotten more about it than I know. Not really.
Unbelievable. 65 years worth of knowledge.
It's a great hobby because you meet people in all walks of life, all over the world when you get to a certain level. And you meet people you would never ever have met before. There's a new feed this year.
Right.
It's a scientifically developed product, and it's a complete food. Now, a canary is a seed-eating bird, and this is a product which is a soft food. It's not a seed, but it's a high protein. It's got all the additives and everything, so it's a substitute. Right. But it keeps the birds in fantastic condition.
What's it called, Brian?
It's called Unifeed. Right. They have different mixtures for different times of the year, so a maintenance mixture, a preparation for breeding, and then one that you can add things to for actual breeding time, a wet mix. So it's absolutely perfect. It's totally different, and it's a scientific formula, whereas in the past it was, you've kept birds a long time, what do you feed them? And then we'll tweak the seed mixture. But seed costs a fortune now. And the birds, when it's a good mix, they'll look through, I like these, I like the Niger seed, I don't like rape, I like canary seed, I like a bit of hemp. They throw the rest on the floor.
Yeah.
If you're using grills in your tray, they can't get to what's wasted on the floor. So, it's money to burn, really.
What is the Yorkshire Canary preference of seed? What do they like?
Well, we prefer giving them a canary seed, which is a grass, really. And that's it, it's a finch, so they do eat that. And they gain nutrition from it. But if you think of a 20-kilo bag of seed, it's this size. 15 kilo of that is the husk, and they just throw it away. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of wastage in
Heartbreaking.
seed. It is. The bank manager hates it.
Yeah. So the
But
sort of
that's,
food-
but that's a
did you-
huge development. It's happened on the continent. It's an Italian product.
Right.
There are other products, but they all come into Britain. We're too small as an island to do it ourselves. But it's a worldwide hobby.
Did it work? Have you tried it?
It does. My birds are on it now, and
Right.
they sing for the supper. Well, they sing for the breakfast every time. Every time I feed them. So it's a brilliant one to watch. You know. So there's a big change for this year. It won't suit everyone. It won't suit everyone's birds. 'Cause
No.
they're living creatures, and
Try
you
it.
know, people with dogs, one will feed them totally different than the next one. You know. Give it a go. When I was a youngster,
Yeah.
I used to finish school and I'd cycle. It was either 3 buses or I'd cycle across. It was a moss and country lanes and that. But halfway home, there was a Norwich breeder called Bruce Pollitt, and he was in his 70s then, and I was like 12 or 13. I'd knock, "Hello, Mr. Pollitt," and he'd take me in. We'd sit in his bird room. His wife would bring us cakes and a bit of pop. You know, I think maybe that was why I went.
Part of it.
But I learnt a lot about canary keeping. You couldn't do it these days, because little kid knocking on an old guy's house, it wouldn't happen.
It's funny you're saying that,
But it's
Brian,
brilliant.
because when I was a kid, because I'm from Stratford-upon-Avon, nobody knows that, but they do now. There was a guy that used to have breed birds across the road, and I thought nothing of
Oh yeah, you just
going
call
knocking
in.
on his door, and he used to teach me. That was back when I think it was bread and milk.
Oh, that's right.
you
we used to
remember
feed
bread and
that,
milk?
Yeah. And now we know that canaries, anyway, can't digest that. But we all used to feed it. We
Yeah.
called milk sops, they were called. And when the youngsters were coming out of the nest to help them wean, because it was nice and soft and digestible, we
Bread and
thought,
milk.
it'd go down. Didn't do any good whatsoever.
Did it not?
We didn't know, no, but we didn't know.
Right.
Because there was no research, you know.
How many birds have you got, Brian? Yourself?
I've got 68.
68.
68, yeah. None of them have got names, but
Right, 68.
I'm carrying more birds than I would normally do. But I'm still holding some for friends who are going to collect them. So I'll cut that down to 40 or so when I'm ready to breed, you know. Just go from there. Then hopefully by the end of June I'll end up with 150. And young ones and old ones together, combined, you know.
What are they like as chicks? Because I've never seen a Yorkshire
They're
Canary.
lovely. The little yellow balls of fluff, really. They come out of the nest about this long, and that's at 3 weeks old. By the time 3 weeks, they begin to peck at food themselves. So you can put, not seed, but you can put this soft food, so this unifeed that I'm trying, you can put that in a dish. And if you've got 3 or 4 birds out of the same nest, one will follow me leader. The most inquisitive will go to the feed, and it's not long before the others cry, and then they go to it. If they don't, if they just sit there going beep, beep, a little plaintive cry, you know that one's not mature enough.
Yeah.
Put it back with its mother for another day or so, and then try again. And it works. You don't lose birds once you've got them to that age. You don't lose them. you know.
Unifeed.
It's,
Unifeed.
yeah, it's well worth trying it, you know. And they make it for other varieties of birds, not just canaries. But that's the biggest breakthrough I've seen for a long time. I do travel to a lot of countries for judging or to see friends.
Myself.
Yeah. There's a world show coming up next week in Spain, in Madrid. So myself, Russell, whom you just met, and a few friends are
Wish
going
I was
up there.
going.
So yeah, it's a nice little trip. We'll try and keep out of trouble.
National
Beautiful, yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.